Hi everybody. Sunday school time again. This is Miss Betsy, and I have a story that we actually did over the summer, but it falls in line with as we're working our way through the first part of the Bible, and it's about a big boat. So I'm sure most of you know what the story is going to be. Now the boat was called an ark, and I should have looked that up in the dictionary to see what an ark actually means, but it was a big boat. And Noah built this boat because God told him to. Now, think, he's living in a dry area, no lake, no river, no ocean, nothing. And there he is building this big boat. So what do you think the people around him thought? Why are you building that boat? Where are you going to swim? Where are you going to sail your boat? There's no water around here. But Noah, he was following God's direction. And even though people might have laughed and joked about it and said, I don't know why he's building that old boat, he kept going. And it was big. So it took him a while, hammering, sawing, cutting the wood, putting it together, nailing it in. You know how you build something out of wood. And he followed God's directions, exactly how it was supposed to be, because inside there were going to be rooms. And I'll wait. I think you know what's going to be in those rooms, but I'll wait till we get into the story. Now there it is. And as you can see, that is big, really big. So look up in the sky behind them. There's some birds coming. But it also, that kind of looks like lightning to me, like maybe the storm was getting ready to come. And this is what was going to be in all those rooms, all these animals. How many of each one? Do you know? 2. 2 giraffes, 2 elephants, 2 hippopotamuses, 2 lions, 2 lizards, 2 birds of every kind, 2 spiders of every kind, 2 flies of every kind, 2, what do we see in the picture here? Chickens, skunks, what else do we see? Turtles, rabbits, because camels, I see camels. Because if there weren't 2 of each one of those animals, after it rained and all the other ones were gone, there wouldn't be any more animals to start growing again. So let's read our story. Noah was ready. He was ready to do everything God told him to do. He was ready to obey God. God saw Noah and was happy about the way he lived. Noah had learned to love and obey God. Noah and his wife had taught their 3 sons to love God too. Now, the thing is, remember our story about Adam and Eve, and they had a family, and their family kept growing and growing and growing, and many years had gone by, and people forgot about God, and he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with how they were living, but Noah followed God. The rest of the people were not like Noah. They were selfish and mean and did many wrong things. They told lies, they cheated, they stole from each other. God saw these people and the things they did. He was sad about the way they lived. God was sorry that all the people he had made disobeyed him. One day God said to Noah, I can't keep watching all the people do wrong things. They have forgotten about obeying me. Because of their evil ways, I will bring a huge flood of water to destroy all the people. But because you have obeyed me, Noah, your family will be safe. Excuse me, I don't know why I get froggy during the story. Noah understood. He was ready to obey God. Then God told Noah, build a huge boat, an ark, so you and your family will be safe from the floodwater. Bring 2 of every kind of animal inside the ark. Bring lots of food for each animal to eat. You and your family will take care of the animals. When the rain falls and the waters rise, they will be safe with you on the ark." Noah understood. He was ready to obey God. Noah and his family worked very hard. They sawed trees to make boards for the ark. They hammered nails to make rooms for the animals. They built a large door for the animals to come in and go out. Finally, the ark was ready, just as the Lord God told Noah. Next, Noah and his family gathered food. They stored it in the ark so the animals would have plenty to eat, just as God told Noah. Soon the animals started coming. 2 animals of every kind walked onto the ark, all the small animals and every tall animal. 2 birds of every kind flew inside the ark, all the little birds and every big bird. Noah and his family found places on the ark for each pair of animals, just as God told him. Finally, all the animals were inside, all the birds were inside. Noah and his family were inside. Plenty of food was inside. Then God closed the door. Everyone was safe inside the ark because Noah had obeyed God. Now, if you want to look this up in the Bible, you older kids, and even younger ones, if you want to have mom or dad help you, it's from Genesis 6, chapter 6, verse 5, and it goes all the way to chapter 7, verse 16. And that, Genesis is the first book in the Bible. You know that, right? Okay, so our memory verse for this story, God told Noah to build an ark for his family and the animals. Can you say that with me? God told Noah to build an ark for his family and the animals. And the verse for this month, on the 7th day, God rested from all his work. On the 7th day, God rested from all his work. And the first verse that we started out with for this quarter, God created heaven and earth. God created heaven and earth. That's an easy one. So Noah obeyed God, even though it was strange to be building that big boat out in the middle of nowhere with no water. He still obeyed God. Now we have rules that we follow too. And that's what our other story is about following rules. Now one, and this isn't a very good one, but when you're driving with mom and dad, when you see this yellow one, that means slow down and get ready to stop. And this one means stop. And this one means go. So we have to follow these rules when we're driving along the street and we see the lights or we see a stop sign, you have to stop. And you have rules at home too. We're going to take a little hike, safety hike, after we have our other story. Okay, in this story, let me show you. This is your picture that you have that you can color. You can add some more animals. There's lots of open space here. You can color these guys in and then add some more. And the boat was made out of wood, but wood can have many colors too. So you can draw in the boards. Some of the animals already on the boat, you can draw them in. That's the picture that was in your packet that you picked up. All right, now in this story, can you see something that doesn't look right? Like something's going to fall over and break? Yeah, that lamp maybe. And there's Chip the dog, he's running around. Now the kids, they were inside because it was raining. And they were told not to run. And we have that rule when we're here for Sunday school or for Kingdom Kids, no running. And you probably have that rule in your house too, except maybe certain places. And when you're not supposed to run, you're not supposed to run because things happen. And that's what happens in our story. Too bad your game was rained out, kids, Dee's mom said. You can stay here and play inside until the rain stops. Dee and Cy and Paul were disappointed. Today was the last game for their baseball team, but it rained so much the field was a muddy mess. Dee's dog Chip was very disappointed too. He liked chasing the ball when Dee's team played. "Thanks for letting us come over, Mrs. Morgan," said Cy. Dee sighed. "What can we do, Mom? I want to play baseball." "Woof, woof," barked Chip in agreement. "I know, Dee," said Mrs. Morgan, nodding. "Let's think of some other ideas. You could put a puzzle together or play a board game." "Can we play baseball inside?" Paul asked. "No, Paul," Mrs. Morgan answered. "It wouldn't be safe. Besides, do you remember the rule about playing inside?" Cy nodded. "No running inside the house." "That's right, Cy. The puzzles and the games are in the closet. Have fun and remember, no running," called Mrs. Morgan. She headed for the kitchen. Dee and Cy and Paul looked in the closet. "Should we do a puzzle?" asked Paul. Dee shook her head. "No, we've already put together all these puzzles." Cy looked at the games. "We've already played all these games, too. Puzzles and games just don't sound like much fun compared to baseball." "Maybe we can think of another game to play," suggested Paul. "How about tag?" Dee suggested. "How can we play tag without running?" wondered Paul. "Well, we could play tag in slow motion. I'll be it first, and then after I tag everyone, we'll pick someone else to be it. You have 5 seconds to run in slow motion and get away." I don't know, I've never tried that. Have you? Dee counted to 5 as Paul and Cy and Chip moved away from her. It didn't take Dee very long to catch Paul and Cy, but Chip was smaller and faster than she was. She lunged for him again and again, but she kept missing. Chip didn't understand what slow motion meant. "You can do it, Dee," shouted Cy. "For you little guys, you know what slow motion means? You know, instead of like walking your normal speed, you just kind of slow steps and slow moving. Yeah, that's what they had to do to play their game." Dee looked at Chip standing on the other side of the room. If she could just run over to him, she could tag him easily. "I'll just tag Chip and then I won't run in the house anymore," Dee thought to herself. "Here we go." Dee ran across the room, but Chip turned and ran the other way. When Dee tried to turn, she slipped and bumped into a table, skinning her knee and breaking a lamp. Crash! "Ow!" yelled Dee, and then she began to cry. Mrs. Morgan rushed into the room. She asked, "Dee, what happened?" "I'm sorry, Mom," answered Dee with a sniffle. "We were playing tag, and I ran to tag Chip, and I slipped and broke the lamp." "It looks like you skinned your knee too, Dee. You broke the rule about running in the house," Mrs. Morgan said. "Yes, but I just ran for a little bit," Dee said. "I wanted to tag Chip." "Dee, do you know why we have rules?" asked her mom. "Well, I guess because every mom likes rules." "No, parents make rules because we want to protect our children," her mom explained. "The rules keep you safe. God gives us rules because He wants to protect us from bad things. Parents make rules for the same reason. But for your punishment, Dee, you have to sweep the kitchen every day for a week." Dee's mom hugged her. "Now what say we find a bandage for that knee and then we'll clean up the broken lamp and have a snack." "That sounds great, Mom," answered Dee. "It sure does," agreed Paul. "Come on, Cy, I'll race you to the kitchen." "Just kidding, Mrs. Morgan, I'm not going to run." Mrs. Morgan laughed along with the children, and they all walked in very slow motion to the kitchen. So there was a rule. They weren't supposed to run while they played, and they did. Now we're going to take a little hike through a couple rooms in your house, because I'm sure at your house and at school and at the church we have rules. So the first room we're going to go in is the kitchen. Now, what safety things would you do in the kitchen? Don't turn on the stove. And if the burners are on, you don't put your hand close to them, because why? You're going to get burned. Don't push any buttons that you don't know what they are, especially. Don't touch knives. Don't open the refrigerator door and leave it open and walk away. Don't turn on the water that's real hot, because that's another thing you can burn your hand if the water's too hot. You also don't turn on the water and let it keep running, because that wastes water. We don't want to do that, right? Plus, it's a safety thing. Okay, how about when you go into the bathroom? You have to wash your hands completely, right? Soap and water. And use a towel to dry your hands. And don't get water on the floor. And don't play in the bathtub, because you can slip in there. Okay, how about if we're out in the parking lot at the church? Now, when you go out after church, you older kids, you can walk with your parents, but you younger ones, what are you supposed to do? You have to hold mom or dad's hand, right? And you do not run out into the parking lot, because there are cars there. And somebody might not see you. So you never run out in the parking lot, especially you have to look very carefully, but you still don't run out there. You wait and you walk with mom and dad. Now, we have rules at Kingdom Kids that you're not allowed to leave. And the same thing with Sunday school. You're not allowed to just leave and go, especially the younger ones. You wait for mom and dad to come and pick you up. And that's the same thing at church and at school and at Sunday school and Kingdom Kids and all that. Okay, you're on the playground and somebody's swinging. Do you walk in front of them? No, because they might just swing over and hit you, even if they don't mean to. You go down the slide the right way. That means feet first, right? Let's see, what else is on here? Go down the slide right. Don't throw sand or rocks. Those are big safety rules. Okay, you're going down the stairs at home or at church or at school. You get down the stairs slowly. You never run on the steps. And you hold on to the railing. Anything else you can think of for steps? You never play on the steps. You never jump or skip or push people or do anything like that on steps, because that wouldn't be safe. Okay, so let's see. We did the rules about holding mom and dad's hand when you cross the street. Most of you, well, you bigger kids know you're allowed to sit in the regular seat with the seatbelt and everything, but you younger kids, you have a special seat in the car, right? It boosts you up a little bit. Sometimes it's called a booster seat, but you have your own special seat that keeps you safe. And of course, the big one, and we didn't cover this in the kitchen, but you never play with matches, because matches can get out of control really quick and somebody could get hurt. Okay, so there's lots more rules. We didn't cover them all, but I wanted to do our little hike through the house. Now, the craft lesson I want you to do today is not really, doesn't really go with our story. But if you look out the window or you walk out in the yard, things are so beautiful. The leaves are turning and dropping all over the ground, and so the grass is covered. But anyway, if you look up at the trees, they are all different colors and they're beautiful. And there's more new colors every day. So what I want you to do for this project, you need leaves, which you can pick up in your yard, wax paper, an iron, and the most important thing, if you're going to do this, a grown-up. Okay, so let the grown-up do the iron. Now, I think you know what, or I hope you know what wax paper looks like. I thought I had some here and I couldn't find it. You know, you really can't see through it. It's kind of foggy. You need two sheets of wax paper. I'm going to pretend that this is wax paper, okay, even though it's not. But if you ask Mom, she knows where it is. So I went out in my yard and I picked up quite a few leaves. This one, I'm not sure whose tree this comes from. There are lots of trees in my neighborhood, I only have a couple in my yard now. This one's from out in the parking lot at the church. And these, see, let me get all three. This is from a tree called a sassafras tree. And it's one tree, but it has 3 shaped leaves. Let me move that's in the way. It has this shape. It has this shape, and I thought this color was really neat. And it has this shape. All the same tree, but different leaves. So I got quite a few. Isn't that pretty? Look at that one. And there's a yellow one. Now when I get home, I'm going to make one myself. So I want to save these leaves and do that. But you can arrange them any way you want to. Now this is a tree in my yard. This is a maple tree. A lot of it turns yellow, but this one has some red in it. So you can arrange these any way you want to. I got a lot of sassafras leaves apparently. Let's see what else I have here. I know there's another sassafras. There they are. This comes from actually a weed. I'm not sure what kind of weed it is, but as soon as it started getting cold, it started turning red. And it's a really pretty red. So I want you to get big leaves, little leaves, depending on the size of wax paper you have. You can make a really big one. And just arrange them so they blend together. There's another one. That comes from somebody in my neighborhood, and I'm not sure who. I didn't get any oak leaves. There's a lot of oak leaves in Level Green. So anyway, lots and lots of colors. Okay, so then, when you have them spread out on the paper, on the wax paper, here, I'm going to move the phone so you can see it. Better? Yeah, spread them out. And then you get another sheet of wax paper and you put it on top. Pick that too. And you put it on top so everything's nice and flat. Now here's where the grown-up comes in, because you're going to use the iron and you're going to iron this. So you want to be very, very careful. Let mom or dad do the ironing, or you can help them. And you watch and see, and the wax paper becomes clear while you're ironing on it. And you'll have all your leaves saved under there, and they're sealed in. It's like you put a jar, a tight lid on a jar. They are sealed in. And you'll have your pretty pattern, and you'll have these leaves because they will last because they're sealed in the wax paper. And then if you want to, you could put a frame around it. Put a frame around it and you can hang it up. You know, just cut a square out of a sheet of construction paper or white paper, any color you want really, and put the frame over top. So that's what I'd like you to do for your craft today. And as you see, I picked up a lot of leaves. But it's just so pretty out. So that's what I'd like you to do. And while you're doing that, you can thank God for all the beautiful colors He gives us in the leaves. Look, there's a sunflower seed that belongs to Scooby-Loo. Okay, so that's our craft for today. So let's go back and we'll do, let me move my leaves. Yeah, because I want to take them home and put them on wax paper. Okay, so there's our leaves. So let's go back to our Bible verse, okay? One for the whole quarter, which goes all the way through next month, November. God created heaven and earth. And then the verse for the month, which if you're looking at this on Sunday, it's for Sunday, October 25th, which is the day of the trunk or treat, by the way. This verse for the month, next month, will have a new verse. On the seventh day, God rested from all His work. Okay, and then the verse for today, God told Noah to build an ark for his family and the animals. And say that with me. God told Noah to build an ark for his family and the animals. So God gives us jobs to do. He also gives us rules, and those rules are to keep us safe. Here, one thing we didn't do yet is our book. First page goes with the Bible story. There's the boat, there's the animals. Came your stickers. Let's see, there was a bird. The bird was probably sitting here watching Noah. And you can see in the background, he started building. Okay, now this, if you know anything about people who build, they have things called blueprints. And it's a very detailed drawing, has every detail you could think of, every corner, every board, every floor, every light switch is on these blueprints. Well, that's the directions that God gave to Noah. So I'm going to put that here. And then our third sticker looks like some of his family coming to help him. Yep, see the ones carrying a board? It looks like his kids are helping him. They're carrying things too. Noah's family helped to build the ark. So there's our picture. Now remember on the back are questions. You can read the story again. You can ask questions. You can talk about the questions that are on here. And just talk more about our story. And talk about the safety rules at your house. Or go for a walk and talk about outdoor safety. Now on the back of your book, oops, there. Now there's the story we had where the kids were running in the house and they weren't supposed to run, remember? So let's turn over to the back, and one child is not obeying the rules. She's carrying her umbrella. She's walking with her mom and she's holding her hand. Look, how about this one? Running. Dad's trying to catch him and he's running, and look where they are, right by the street. So which one of them is not obeying the safety rules? That one right there. So I'm going to put an X over that one. And my pen, there we go. All right, the second one, who's not obeying the safety rules? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I think I know. He's walking along, probably following the rules. He's not running. This guy over here is washing his hands, soap and water. And how about these guys in the middle? One's getting his pop can out of the cooler, and somebody else is running, and he looks like he's going to run into his, looks like he's going to run into his friend. Is that obeying the safety rules? Not at all. So we'll put an X over these guys. All right, the one on the bottom. She's sitting in her safety seat, and he's sweeping up the floor. How about this one over here? Looks like he's getting ready to push or punch. So which one is not obeying the safety rules? These guys over here. So I'm going to put an X over them. All right, so we did our papers. We did our story, both stories. And you can do your craft with your leaves. You can do it now or you can do it later, but it'll be so pretty. Maybe, oh gee, I wish there was a way I could see them. Now, let me tell you what's going on at church right now. This Sunday is the trunk or treat, and people are going to decorate their cars and have candy and games and fun stuff. We're going to have hot chocolate, maybe cookies. It's all going to be outside, so we're hoping it doesn't rain. And the cars are going to be so neat. If you were here last year, you saw them all decorated, and they're neat. They're just really neat. So you can bring your friends. It's free. It's for everybody. There'll be a place to park, and you can walk through. Wear your mask. You can wear a costume. But please come. Bring your friends. You can walk around to each car. And after you've been to each car, you can go around again if you want to. And we're, like I said, we're going to have hot chocolate and cookies, and that's going to be out here too. So remember, it starts at 2 o'clock and goes until 4 o'clock. You don't have to stay the whole 2 hours, but you can if you want to. Or you can come anytime after 2 o'clock, before 4 o'clock. So it's really fun. And that's our trunk or treat. The other thing that's going on is on Wednesday afternoon, I know some of you used to come for Kingdom Kids. Well, we can't do that right now, just like we can't all have school and Sunday school like we normally did, and someday we will. But for right now, Miss Janet is doing it on Zoom. And if you tell Miss Sherry or tell Miss Janet you would like to come, she will send you an email the day before so that you can click in and join in. And she always has a story and circle time and sharing time and a game or something to make. And that's at 5 o'clock, and it's every Wednesday. So if you used to come, especially, you know what it's like. So it'd be nice for you to come and join in on Zoom. Let's see. Remember, Kingdom Kids at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Trunk or treat, 2 o'clock on Sunday. Wear a costume, wear a mask, and come prepared for candy. Let's say a prayer. I closed up the book before I meant to. There we go. Let's say our prayer. Dear God, help us to feel secure and safe at home. Help us to obey safety rules this week. Thank you for loving us and giving us rules and always caring about us. Amen. Okay, boys and girls, that's Sunday school for this week. I will see you next week, and I hope to see some of you on Sunday. Thanks for coming to Sunday school. Bye.